There's success in our business based on the feedback we get. If we see that we've impacted someone, if what we've said or the way we've helped someone has made a difference to someone's life. It may not be measurable in our bank account, but we have clients who have completely overhauled their lives.
Yeah.
And to see these people who were broken living a life that they have intentionally chosen for themselves based on what we've helped them with, and they've turned everything around and they're happy and they're joyful, you just can't beat that. It's our biggest success, I think.
Welcome to Getting to the Heart of Business, brought to you by The Online Co, where we believe the best way to help small and medium businesses grow is by putting people first. I'm James Parnwell, and in today's episode you'll hear from two of the most inspiring, encouraging people I've spoken to on the podcast. They're Anastasia Adams and Jodie Bruce-Clarke from Rise Women. They're confidence coaches, and their business helps women from all walks of life to increase their self-belief and transform their life. My co-host with me today is Jess.
Hi, James.
Right. Can you tell me about a time when you thought, I can't do this, and then you've proved yourself wrong?
Yeah, I can actually. So very early on in my business life, I had the opportunity to present to a board that I wanted to win the contract to do some of their work, some of their digital marketing, and part of the selection process was myself and a couple other people in the running had to go and do this big presentation. And to say that I was nervous was an understatement.
Yeah, just a big deal for that stage. Probably a big deal now.
Yeah, look, it would be a big deal now, but I think I've done it a few times now. So I've got more confidence. But I definitely remember sitting in the car park, sweating a bit, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah, wow.
And then I did the presentation and I nailed it. I remember, coming out of the presentation and leaving and sitting in the car, and I rang my husband and I was going, yes, I smashed it. I kicked it out of the park. I prepared well and covered off the points that I needed to. And
then executed.
That's it. I did it. I suppose it did make me feel 10 feet tall.
So in today's interview, Jodie and Anastasia's inspirational energy will make you feel about a foot taller as well. But not only that, you'll learn from their stories about some of the incredible testing times they've been through while building a business that is literally changing lives around the world. With a business called Rise Women and a podcast called The Secrets of Confident Women, you might assume that my guests today were born dripping with confidence. Jodie Bruce-Clarke and her business partner Anastasia Adams say that's not true at all. In fact, both of them had to work on building their confidence over time, using a lot of techniques and strategies. That's great to know because it means that we can all become more confident with a bit of knowledge and practice. Their business story is a fascinating one, and I'm with them now to hear it. Jodie and Anastasia, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
That was a great intro.
It was.
Now, a confidence coaching business for women, that's quite a unique and a niche field. Tell me how and why you got started.
Well, it is a bit of a story. Yeah. So I guess it sort of goes back to my childhood when Mum was diagnosed with a brain tumour when I was about 12, 13 years old.
Okay.
And it was the 80s when the personal development world had just sort of started to come. The Deepak Chopras were out, the Louise Hay books, all the positive thinking type thing was on the horizon. And my mother really took on herself to heal herself from this brain tumour.
Okay.
So as a very young girl, I was exposed to all these types of books and this way of thinking. And then went on my merry way and sort of thought everyone thought like that. And it wasn't until I was actually retrenched. I was working in the hospitality industry.
Okay.
Found life coaching at that point and was trying to move out of the hotel industry. I was halfway through my course when 9/11 hit.
Okay.
And I was retrenched because similar to what's happened with COVID, everyone went,
everyone
oh
freaked
my
out.
goodness, you can't travel anywhere forever. So the travel industry went into sort of a free fall. And I took my retrenchment check and set up my business.
But you were halfway through a course already.
I was.
So you kind of had one foot out.
Yes, I'd already decided I really wanted to find a new career. And when I found coaching, it was like, I just thought this
all the lights went on?
Yeah, it was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This was
wow.
This was it. So I started coaching and Look, I'm probably a frustrated Broadway actress, really, but a Broadway actress that could never sing. And so I started going to networking events, running a business, doing all the things that you do, and was always happy to stand up at the front of the room and talk or introduce the speaker or do any of those sort of things because everyone was terrified of doing that. And I had a lot of women especially come up to me at the end and sort of say, "Oh, you're so lucky to have confidence. I wish I had what you had." And I guess as much as that sounds like a compliment, it was sort of not, because I knew how much work it took to have the confidence that I do and keep my mindset in a place of being confident enough to do those things. I actually put a lot of work into confidence.
And that all got kicked off with your mum maybe 12 years before or so.
Just being exposed to positive thinking and changing your mindset and learning techniques and doing all that sort of thing. That was part of me as an early adolescent. So I guess I took it for granted a little bit that I could, do these things. But again, when people approach me to say you're lucky, it's like...
So luck's not the right word.
Luck's not the right word. It actually takes a lot of hard work. Yeah. So then I started focusing on doing presentations around confidence. And it pretty much went from there, teaching these women that were saying, "Oh, you're so lucky," teaching them actually, well, it's not luck. You actually put the work in and you can have this too. And I was sort of doing that part-time and working in a business and needed some help. And I met Anastasia at our children's dancing class, as you do. And Anastasia actually came to work for me in another business. And then I was letting that go. And I sort of said, "Hey, I've got this business. I've got a half-written book on the shelf. Have you got any interest in joining me in this business?" And she said...
hell yeah. It was such a no-brainer.
So what attracted you to it?
Look, I had my own personal journey at that point. I'd been through, a marriage breakdown, and my daughter was sick after she was born. So there were different catalysts in my life that kind of built my confidence journey. And I was at that point where I needed something. I needed a purpose. And I was just trying to get back into the workforce. Every week I was at this dance class going, I need to find a job. I had a legal background, so I didn't want to get back into that because my priorities just didn't align with that anymore.
Right, life had changed.
Yeah, and I just wanted to focus more on my family, but I also needed some sort of a driver, something that I was interested in and passionate about. So when Rise Women came up, I'm like, why would I not do this? It was just so interesting, so fascinating. The techniques that I was learning through Jodie and through my own journey, it helped me build my confidence. So it wasn't just me, in a business where I was helping other women. It was stuff that I'd actually implemented in my own life. So I knew that it worked.
Yeah,
you had something to say based on your experience.
Yeah, and I finally had a voice to say it with, whereas before I'd built my own confidence, I was very kind of meek and timid. I'm not the person today that I was 10 years ago. There is like no resemblance to that woman anymore. So it was just a no-brainer. We just fit, and we have different strengths and different skills and talents.
Because I wanted to ask about the partnership, because choosing a business partner is a bit like choosing a marriage partner. You're tied together.
I see her more than I see my husband some weeks.
Probably.
Yeah, and there can be disagreements. You can see things differently, but also you can bring tremendous strengths to each other's weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. We both have different skills, and I think we've got a really good alignment. There are things that I'm good at.
Can you unpack that a little?
So Jodie is definitely our tech guru.
Okay.
Right? She does all our tech stuff. She's built our website from scratch, which is incredible. But then she'll build the shell and go, right, I need wording for this section. And I'll go, okay, that's my job. So I'll do all our wording.
She's definitely the wordsmith,
Yeah. Right. I'll do our, anything legal that we have to do. Jodie will do our accounts. Jodie will do our presentations. I'll help with writing an article. So we have different strengths.
Yep.
I'm a spelling police woman.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Sometimes
Jodie gives me things. I know. Jodie gives me things to work with.
Sometimes there's a text message that comes through at like 8 o'clock at night, and that's when an Instagram post is released, and she's texting me images with circles around words, and I go, "Damn it, really again?"
I know.
So,
are both of you visionary in terms of you see where the business is going, or does one of you have a clear picture and the other helps kind of build the scaffolding to get there, or?
I think we both see it now. It was interesting. I guess
It
when
is a big
we
picture thing.
first started, Anastasia was like, I want to be in the background, you be up front. And even getting her to be in a photo shoot in the early days was
It was a battle.
terrifying. Like she was just like, no, I'm not. I'll be at the back. But again, the confidence that Anastasia has built even throughout this journey has been incredible. And now she's been interviewing people on our podcast, and she's really taken, probably in the last 12 to 18 months, really went, you know what, I can do this too. Like I can be at the front and...
Yeah, absolutely. I think 2 years ago, if we'd been asked to do this podcast, there is no way I'd be in it. I just wouldn't have done it. I would have gone, oh, great, Jodie, let's prepare you for this podcast. I just wouldn't be a part of it.
Right. So you're saying that 10 years ago, you started and you joined Jodie because you'd learnt so much about confidence, but the journey hasn't stopped. The growth has just continued.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got more and more confidence as you've gone.
Oh, and anyone running business knows that running a business is the biggest personal development program you'll ever be on.
Yeah.
So, it's daily, and you're always taking on different things, bigger things, new things, whether
Challenging
it's
yourselves in
starting
different
podcasts or building things or dealing with social media or dealing with a photo shoot or where do we take the business now. It's always outside of our comfort zone. It's always a challenge, and anything to do with outside your comfort zone needs a foundation of confidence, needs to take your confidence to the next level. And, you know, we've had very big challenges along the way that has really knocked our confidence. And interestingly enough, I'm the one who has the biggest knock. And then Anastasia sort of turns up to work and I'm in the depths of, oh, it's too hard, I can't do this, da, 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 da. And she's like, we've got a lot to do today. So how long is this conversation going to take? And can you move through it really quickly? Because there's a lot to get going. So
I'm a silver lining kind of person. So I will always try to look for the positive. I'll always do that, but. I know it's terrible, but how about this? And it works because we can bounce off each other like that.
Yeah.
We can pull each other out of little ruts sometimes.
And I don't think there's never really been a disagreement.
No.
We're on the same page. We know what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
We know the difference this work is making
Yeah.
Yes, in people's lives,
in people's
absolutely.
lives. Like
And
dramatic.
we do have a common goal.
Yes, and we do have a common goal.
Yeah.
She wants a private jet. I'm still not sure
I do.
where that will fit.
But we
never-
discovered today I need a bigger driveway to park my private jet in.
Okay.
But the overall goal of global domination with Rise Women, that we're aligned on.
We're
that.
aligned. We're clear.
So you actually mentioned your family values and wanting to start a business so you could be around your family.
Yeah.
And in these interviews, that keeps coming up.
Yeah.
And the reason I started the online code was the same.
Yes.
I couldn't stand the idea of sitting in a train for 2 hours and
No.
sitting at a desk for 10
Yeah.
hours and coming back and my kids were asleep when I left and they're asleep when I go back. That just doesn't align with my values
You miss so much,
at
don't
all.
you?
Yeah.
So starting a business is one way to be able to give yourself the flexibility, I guess, to do both, right? To have an exciting career
Yeah.
and be with your family. How's that out working for you guys at the moment?
It has challenging days, school holidays. So it took us sort of 6 or 7 years to work out that we shouldn't do school holidays because we'd always planned to get all this stuff done in school holidays. Nothing would happen, and then we'd go, nothing happened. Like the last school holidays. Why don't?
And so you're frustrated.
Yeah, we're always disappointed that we didn't get things done during
So
the
now we
holidays.
just
we
know,
just owned it.
and even to the point, even last night, my son said, "Mum, it's week 6. There's only 4 weeks left till school."
Which means we're now scrambling.
Because I'm always like, nothing gets done in school holidays. I need, can't wait to get the sort of kids back to school at that point, so we get some time. But even going into this business, we both had quite young children.
Mm-hmm.
We both, had partners that were sort of off doing the corporate thing. So it was a requirement that we were there for school pickup. We were the ones that were going to be there if the child got sick.
Yeah.
So
athletics carnivals, soccer training,
and we
all of
wanted
Their
to
awards
be
presentations, everything. That
and
flexibility.
We wanted to be involved in that, so that it was important that we structured this business in a way that we did have that flexibility and that we did see our children grow up, but not full time.
Yeah.
I think there's also been a constant underlying element of the end goal of the business, which has always been to have a successful online business.
Yeah.
It was never about a shop front. It was never about, we constantly want to be out in public doing keynotes. It was about creating really valuable courses and the podcast and just resources online that anyone can access at any time from anywhere around the world. And that gave a different element of that flexibility. It's not just us picking the times that we work, but we wanted the business to run in the background while we were sleeping, basically.
Yeah, okay.
And I still like to, because I am a frustrated Broadway actress, I still want to do the odd
She needs a
face-to-face
microphone.
type presentation, but we can pick and choose that and work around that. It's not that, like, as you say, that daily grind of getting on the train and trying to pack lunches at 6 a.m. for your kids and then dropping them. Like, I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear living that life. And I know... some people do, and that's, they don't have choices necessarily always around that. But
Or it works for them.
Yeah,
it could
or
be
it
what
works
they
for them.
want,
Yep.
but it's not
That's
what
true.
we want,
It's
and we're
not what we
lucky that
want.
it's
Yeah.
not what either of us want.
yes.
Yeah, it
So-
wasn't what I wanted. And
No.
yeah. So you've got a great website and you've got online courses and you've written a book and you've got a podcast that's coming up on a year old and you're doing some great things on social media and lots of happy customers. That doesn't just sort of happen overnight, does it?
No.
Yeah, it's just one of those overnight successes that took
Yeah.
10 years.
No. Yeah.
Well, people say, it's like the lucky thing again. Oh, you're lucky to have. Yeah, it's like, no, we created this life. It didn't come by luck.
No.
Can you share with us some milestones, some real highlights along the journey?
I think the book, getting the book out was one of the biggest. Luckily enough, I was filmed. My husband was with me and filmed me opening the first copy of my book. It's on our website. Because I had started writing that book 10 years before we published it. And Anastasia and I went in business together at that point. I just started writing this book. Children came along and, all those sorts of things got interrupted. So when we first started, and I guess this is where, like, Anastasia's strength, once we started working together, I said, I've actually got a half-finished book sitting on the shelf in a
And
folder.
I'm a reader, right?
And she's an
Yeah.
avid
I don't
reader
watch
and
TV.
writer.
And was it
I
full of
just
spelling
read.
mistakes?
Yes, it was full
I'm
of
not going to answer that
Yeah,
question.
it was full of spelling mistakes, for sure, because I just bunged it out. But it was Anastasia who sort of said, it's time.
Yep.
It's time to get that off the shelf. So we drank a lot of coffee in those it was
did.
sort of, we sat down for 8 months because, again, I'd started it before I had children. We had the shell of the book, but we needed to restructure that. I'd learned more. I was doing a lot more different presentations by that point, putting a lot more content into the topic. So we rewrote a lot of it then, and Anastasia, that would just set her on fire. So she loves being a wordsmith and putting words together
I do.
and making.
I just love words.
And and even we still sit in our office and I go, say something about blah, 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 and she just, you can hear the fingers typing on the keyboard. And then it's this amazing paragraph that I could sit there for 6 months and I still wouldn't get as paragraph. And she just creates it into this sentence that you're like, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
She got it.
So the book, I guess, once we actually had that live and we did a book launch event and it was
fun.
just... That was a real moment, wasn't it, for us to go, this is
solidified the
tangible.
business.
This is something we create. And, anyone who's written a book, people think you are amazing once you've written a book. Like, it's just like...
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, what's it done for the business, having a book?
Look, it has given it more credibility, I think.
Absolutely.
I think there's credibility, especially when I do keynotes or presentations. If you've got that book, people sort of want that follow-on, I'll go and buy your book to get sort of more information or what have you.
And it does give you a different level of reach too, I think, because a book is something that, you can buy it online. It can get to any place in the world. It's not, she doesn't need to be in a room speaking to someone to make an impact with the book. I think it was like probably our first serious product that we could sell, where we could actually go, we have a store and there's a book in it and it looks beautiful and people could buy it. And there's this one time, you wouldn't bring up this story, where we'd gone into the city.
Oh, no, I'm a bit nervous.
Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
We'd gone into the city for a presentation and we're at Wynyard Station and we were waiting in the queue to buy a ticket or something.
Our Opal tickets. Yes.
And somebody actually approached Jodie and went, oh my God, are you Jodie Bruce-Clarke? Did you write Pumped? And you should have just seen her face. She's like, yes, that was me. She's like, I loved the book and it changed my life and it was amazing. And then she just walked off.
Yeah.
And we were both shell-shocked, like she'd been recognised from a book.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was just, it was
the
that
train
first...
station.
At a train station, yeah.
Yeah, randoms playing.
And
it.
it's not, you're not a movie star, you're not all over screens.
No.
So someone was so impacted by this book that they recognised her face. And I don't
What,
even think your
off-
face is...
I was going to say, was it on the back of the book?
No.
Or?
No, but I think she'd gone to. She must have gone to the website.
She'd gone to the
or
website,
bought it
but
from,
there was
bought
that
it
much
from
of
the
an
website.
impact.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was one of the first times where I went, yeah, this book is just, it's going to make waves, because for people to stop you in a train station and go, your book changed my life.
Yeah,
And
it's
you're
pretty
not
cool.
a movie star, you're not, it's a piece of written work.
You're not a Broadway actress either.
Not even.
Not yet.
Can't sing, James. What a shame. Maybe my next life. The other big milestone happened through COVID last year where it did start a little bit before that, but all of a sudden we just started getting hit by American coaching clients.
Yeah.
Like the inquiries that started coming through. So what happened in my SEO or my organic reach, something changed, and we were coming up in a search function and just started getting approached by women in America who were looking
corporate
women in America looking for a confidence coach. And they literally said, I typed confidence coaching into Google and you came up in the top. So, which was great because obviously we were in COVID. There was no speaking or conference gig. So
from a financial perspective, it was good for the business.
Yeah.
But it also reminded us that our reach was global, and it kind of opens your mind up a bit and your perception to go, well, there are different elements of our business that different people around the world relate to differently. So in America, coaching and therapy and, mentoring and all that, it's a big deal. And people know that if you have an issue.
Yeah.
And it's different to Australia?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have a different relationship to it.
Americans, if they go, I've got a problem, I need a therapist or a coach. I think they're much more open to coaching. It's just much more acceptable, I think. And, we do have Australian clients and that's fine, but I don't think it's that automatic. I've got a problem with my confidence or a challenge with my confidence. Well, I'll just Google confidence coach. I'll get a coach. And
they don't go there automatically.
maybe you think, well, if I'm a tennis player, I'll go and get a tennis coach. But from a personal development side of things, where
maybe,
they're working,
maybe the life coaching kind of
Yes,
broad arch is
much
just
more-
hasn't been as established in Australia yet.
No,
Yeah.
and probably
Yeah.
not as refined
Okay.
to specific topics like confidence, or different people have different issues that they need to work through, and I don't think we've got that mindset yet in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was another big milestone, I guess.
Yeah,
Have you
kept the
taken-
business alive during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was COVID for you guys? You had
Great.
It was really good.
right.
We probably had the biggest exponential growth for our business during COVID than we ever have before.
We couldn't see each other. That was probably the only challenge. But
Yeah.
I'd already worked from home for, the best part of 15 years at that point. So the working from home thing was
no big deal.
no big deal. I was already coaching clients over Zoom. Even before we were doing international clients, I had clients around Australia. You can't meet them for coffee. Probably the biggest challenge was we both had children at home when the schools were closed.
Okay.
Schooling.
So that,
That was good fun.
we'd sort of we'd talk on the phone or something of business, and she'd say, "Oh, how was your day?" I was like, "Well, I did an assignment on cyclones today, so life is good, and I know about volcanoes because that's what I'm doing tomorrow with my 10-year-old." But we
got through it.
We did, and it wasn't as long. We weren't shut down as long as some poor places in the world. And I think it was fine because I still had coaching clients, so I was still connecting with people and still doing the work, which was great. And then that's when we decided to start the podcast because we were about to do YouTube videos, and thank goodness.
I'm so glad we didn't do that
Oh my
now.
God, thank God we did not do YouTube videos.
Why is that? Just the time
Oh,
involved?
time and the videoing and getting our hair done all the
And
time.
I don't think it was ever really something that
No.
our heart wasn't in it, but we knew that there was a future in video. We knew that we had to be more accessible to people on a video platform rather than just social media posts and in type, like articles and things like that. And we knew that they had to be able to hear our voices.
Yes.
So that automatically we just went, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I don't know why podcasts never crossed our mind at
No,
that point.
I know. Anastasia could be at her place writing podcasts. Then we could literally record them over the phone. So, I mean, I think the first ones we actually did get to do in person because by the time we'd planned it all, we were allowed to see each other again. But yeah, I guess the concept and the idea of that came from, well, we can't see each other. What else can we do? How do we pivot now?
So the adversity of COVID just gave people a lot of pressure to adapt.
Yeah.
And they're the businesses that survived, I think, because that's the nature of humanity. There's always changes. You always need to shift your mindset, and business is the same as life. You can't just sit stagnant.
But it is just business. Like, there are many points in business that you hit that roadblock that you don't think, and you have to do the P word. Like, you have to pivot. You have to change. With COVID, I guess we were all just...
The whole world all at once.
The whole world all at once was trying to work out how to do a Zoom meeting and work from home.
And I think we were fortunate because the nature of our business is something that people needed during COVID. There were a lot of redundancies and so much uncertainty and so much fear and so much change in people's lives. And a lot of what we do is based on that, because uncertainty and fear and change can lead to a lack of confidence. So I think once it did kick in and people realised that they had to shift, it did drive some traffic towards us, because people are like, right, our confidence has now been affected because the world's been turned upside down. Where do we go for help?
Yeah.
So in that respect as well, just our content alone drew people to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourselves going over the next 10 years?
I need a bigger driveway for my jet.
A very long one?
A very long. I also need a pilot if anyone's interested.
Google Ads is probably the best and the worst digital marketing tactic on the internet. The best because if people are looking for you and they're looking for your keywords, you can pretty much guarantee you can turn them into leads. It's the worst that if they're not, you shouldn't be doing it. And frankly, I speak to people who want to do Google Ads and shouldn't, and we convince them not to. So my question for you is, will Google Ads work for you? Well, we'd love to help you answer that question. Jump on theonlineco.net, book a quick chat, and we can help you.
Our focus is really, we're just about to release our second online course, which is workplace specific. So the first online course was called the Ultimate Confidence Course for Women. It was for anyone needing confidence. And then late last year, we're actually going to write another book.
Oh, great.
We were actually,
Oh no, every time she has an idea, she says, by the way, you need to write a book on
Another
that. I'm
book.
like, okay.
So we do.
So I've got a list of about 15 books that I need to write.
Yes, there is. We do want a bestseller. We would love a bestseller at some point as a vision for the business. But we were actually approached by a company that sells online courses to put a confidence course on their platform. It was just like, here's an opportunity. Do you want it? We stopped and went, yes, we do.
Which is scary because you put yourself on a path and you go, right, I know where I'm going, and you set yourself up for that. And then when something else is off on a tangent and you think it could work, but what if I try it and it doesn't work? There was that moment of we're at a crossroad.
Yeah.
But we knew this would work because we'd seen an increase in that type of market for us. We knew that corporate women needed help with, and just workplace women needed help with.
You had a feel based on your experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially because the international clients we were getting from America were all corporate.
Okay.
They were all corporate women wanting to take their careers to the next level, knowing that their confidence was in the way, or they'd been through a job assessment,
performance evaluation,
and had been told their confidence was in the way of being promoted.
Yeah.
Go and sort your confidence out. So that was all the same type of women, wasn't it? It was incredible. So we stopped everything. We invested in filming that. We wrote the next course and invested a lot of time and money putting that together. That's where we want to take this now. The next sort of section is really getting the online course world churning over, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to fly international and do presentations
with my jet. I think that market for us is definitely where we're heading, because obviously we're primarily focused on helping women with their confidence, and a lot of women, especially women in the workforce, are quite time poor. So the idea of a course, it gives them that opportunity to be able to work at their own pace. There's a bit of autonomy in that feeling that we want to give them a course that works for them. We don't just want them to buy a course and then put it to the side and never do it.
Yeah. So I wonder if we've all met someone and you look at them and you go, man, they're amazing. They're just really incredible people. but they don't believe that themselves. That,
No.
they lack confidence.
Yeah.
And possibly we've met the opposite. They got all this confidence
Yes.
and no skill. But I think they're rarer.
Yes.
I think
Some of those are bordering on arrogance or bravado, which you sort of can see through sometimes.
Right. Yeah. But when you've got someone, you go, wow. If
Yeah.
only you believed in yourself.
Yes.
Or if you could just see yourself for 5 minutes the way I see you.
Yes.
You'd be incredible.
Yes.
What-
They're Jodie's coaching clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
So
are
what,
incredible women.
can you give me the 2-minute version of what you say to those people?
No.
There is no
Can you give me the
it's not
2-hour version?
Look, just one quickly. I'm working with a lady at the moment. She literally works for the Italian version of NASA. She studies wind patterns from space.
Wow.
And she,
Incredible.
the thing for her is, in her world, she's in a very male-dominated industry with a lot of scientists who have multiple PhDs and whatever. So she was saying when we first started working together, I'm just not smart enough to be in this job. I said, darling, I think you are the smartest person I've ever spoken to in my life, right? Again, she couldn't, it's all perspective of the situation
Yes.
you're in.
I've
right?
only got one
Contextual.
PhD.
Yeah.
This guy's got 3.
Yes, that's right. So how do I talk to him,
Yeah.
So where I start to work on is we look at the evidence that's outside of them. I do a lot of stuff about the brain and about why the negative voice or the mean girl in your head is talking like she is, because that's just your brain trying to keep you alive. It's just supposed to keep you tucked away, very safe, pretty much stay home and watch Netflix and life will be good. This woman, she got promoted and got into this new role. 2 or 3 weeks in, she said, oh, my boss said to me that I've picked it up really well and I'm doing a great job.
Yeah.
And she was
And
surprised.
she was surprised.
Yeah.
So we start documenting the evidence that's outside of her that actually contradicts what the voice in her
Yes.
head is
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
And
And
when-
documenting is important.
Yes, because you'll forget it very
Yes.
quickly. So she's got a notebook on her desk. So when someone says something, a complimentary or sends her an email or whatever, she has to
Acknowledgement.
collect all that. So when, you could wake up tired and your brain goes into a negative meltdown.
It can be that simple, can't it?
It
Yeah,
can.
absolutely.
It can. So you go back to the evidence book and you remind yourself who you really are and what's really happening outside of you rather than believing the stuff in your head. The voice isn't you. The voice is just the voice trying to have you stay home and watch Netflix for the rest of your life because then you're safe. But when you can see what it's doing, you can not buy into the conversation that it's having.
Yeah, that awareness
Yeah.
is so valuable.
Treating that voice with a bit of dismissal, but also rewiring your brain based around the positive messages.
Yes. So then we start repetition and different things around.
Reframing thoughts.
Absolutely. You sort of got to re-brainwash yourself because it's brainwashed you into telling you you're no good and you're this and you'll never be this and you're all the stuff that it says. And you've actually got to not believe any of that and get control of the voice and
Which is hard, right? You need to be really intentional about choosing a positive thought. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the negative will just be your default all the time.
Yep.
And it's natural. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's completely normal. It happens to everybody.
I've
It's
had
just the way
I've
we
had
work.
women say, "What? Everybody thinks like this."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, everyone's got the voice, and it's all saying the
That's part
same
of what
thing.
our voice tells us. Our part of our that inner voice is nobody else is
Yeah.
doing this. It's just you. You're
Yeah.
not good enough. And this is part of what it does to us. It breaks us down.
Yeah,
And once there's an awareness around that, it changes everything because then you know you're in control of it.
yeah. So that's the 2-minute version, James.
So one of the things that we've tried to do with this podcast is to make other business owners aware that every business owner goes through hard times as well. And
Yeah.
obviously the voice is in there in the
Yes,
process.
yes.
But also, we struggle with hiring people, we struggle with cash flow, we struggle with operations, things go off the rails, and it happens to everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you're not a miserable failure because bad things happen. It's actually part of the
Yeah.
growth process.
Yes.
Have you guys had any, difficult things in the last 10 years that...
Yes, we have.
Again, do you want the 2-minute version or the 2-hour version? Oh, look, we have. And there's so many different difficulties because it can be in, your personal development, your business development. Like you said, it can be around logistics. It can be around choices that you make. You make a decision and then it doesn't go the way you want, and then you go, oh, that was a mistake, but really it's not. Like you said, they're learning opportunities.
But the biggest...
What do you think our biggest one was?
Well, you know what the biggest...
Yeah.
So the biggest roadblock, we spent just under 12 months rewriting the book and getting it published ready. We decided to publish it ourselves, so we put our hands in our pockets and put our money where our mouth is, and it was a very, even picking font for the book. I mean, there's so many decisions you have to make, which is why opening the first copy of our book was just it was like having my third child, and it was almost as hard to birth. So, but 4 months later, the book publishing company went into liquidation and walked away with our money, our files, everything.
Right.
We had
all
nothing,
that work,
nothing
it's all
left.
gone.
So you've lost your book.
Lost the book.
Except the hard copies that we had in a box in the office.
I think
that
we
was
had
all we had left.
had 60 or so hard copies.
Oh, okay.
And we lost everything. And basically they went into liquidation. They just walked all staff off their property, and it was in Brisbane.
Okay.
Yeah.
The liquidator because I was like, hang on, I need my files. And she's like, well, I think you can hire forensic investigators to go in and like search through computers to find files. But that might be $25,000. I was like,
we just spent all our money on this publishing company and it was gone.
So I went into meltdown for near on a month.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was good.
I was destroyed. I was like, this bus is too hard to push up this hill. Like, this is the end. And I guess it probably was Anastasia that kept it all going. Then I think after a month, I just got mad. I got like, this is not right.
Right.
So I set up a Facebook group, and we started Google searching people who self-publishers who had used this company, and I just contacted authors and said, we're in this situation too. I've set up this Facebook group.
So we ended up group.
Yeah, we ended up with there was about 50 of us in this group. And
that wouldn't have been all of them, would it?
No
got
way. They were the people that I could direct message. And through that group, we all started helping each other. And we actually found the printer, and I contacted them. They were fantastic. And they basically said, if you can get a letter from the liquidator, we'll give you this file.
Okay.
We got the file back, and Anastasia found a spelling mistake, and she said, while we're there, can we please...
Of course.
I thought I got them all the first time. I missed one.
want
She
to
missed
ask,
one.
yeah.
It was in the table of contents.
Mortified with myself.
And she
that I missed
went,
one.
let's just pay now and get this fixed. Otherwise, I will not sleep at night for the rest of my life. and we set up with another publishing company. So that was a really, really challenging time.
Yeah.
That was this is too hard moment.
And you start to second guess yourself, right? And that's the biggest fear with these business mistakes, where you go, oh, maybe we shouldn't have gone with them. I mean, we've done it before. We tried to find a digital marketing company to help us with our digital marketing, and we found someone and we thought, oh yeah, they're great, but we had this gut instinct that they're just not. They may not align exactly with what we want, and it didn't work out. And again, time and money investment, and we lost a lot through that. But we try not to look at them as failures or mistakes. It's just, over time, through these experiences, we've learnt what we need to keep for ourselves and not outsource. If we want to retain, our voice and make sure that what's coming across is purely us. And then there are some things that we just can't do and that we do have to outsource, like publishing the book. So we did find a great new publisher. But yeah, it is all about making those decisions that you think at the time are the right decisions. And there is no right or wrong. You just make a choice based on what you know. And whether it turns out or not, it's always a learning opportunity. And sometimes when it doesn't turn out, that's when you learn more, right?
Oh, I know, but
I know, it's painful.
It's painful as hell. I wish I could learn another way sometimes, but
without
no.
making mistakes and having challenges.
Yeah.
That happened with the website. And that's why Jodie now builds our websites, because we went with the wrong company. They didn't get us at all. That was a massive financial investment.
I think interesting with us, so it's all about red. I don't know if you've seen our website, but we're all about red. I have red hair. We've got a very strong theme, and the way we speak is very it's very
distinct
us.
to
It's
us,
very
yeah.
distinct to
You
us.
have a voice.
Yes.
And it's unique to you.
But the amount of people who start to work with us, I've had people say, oh, look, I think we should change the red to something more peach. We're like, Darl, we are not peach. Like,
No.
so
we see
know
peach,
straight
we run
away.
the other way,
Yeah.
and pastels, we just don't do
So
pastels.
even working with we've worked with graphic designers, we've got a really clear brief now that we say, it's red. This is the red nut. Here's the code.
Yeah.
Don't bring peach in. Don't bring clouds in. We don't do sunsets and doves off in.
no.
Like that's
We're very
a lot
clear
of
on
a lot of the other people doing confidence is very much like that, and that's totally okay. That's just not who we are. That's not our business. It is finding the people that work well with us that
Don't try to convert us to
that
beige.
understand that don't because maybe they're working with so many beige. It's just easy to bung out the beige, and that's not what we want. So, I mean, we've got a great graphic designer that we found.
Great.
She gets us. We don't need help telling us to go down another path. We need support going along the path that we're on.
chosen.
Graphic designers we've had that have wanted to change my logo and
Yeah.
take the red out. I've had someone say, we don't like the black. And I'm like, have you seen Nike? Like,
I know, right?
It's so
like,
subjective.
so
It is. And it's also not just don't try to change us, but if you can't make an effort to see what we're about, then be straight and be honest. And we find that often in business, even if they can tell that there's no alignment, they'll do whatever they can to kind of try to convince you that, yeah, we're on board and we understand your journey, we understand your path. And if you've missed it, there just needs to be more transparency to just go, no, we don't understand what you're saying, or we're not the right business for you. Yeah. But it has taught us, both of the digital marketing companies and I think the website company, to trust our instincts more. We're much more definitive now in that we can go, no, these are not our people.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when the business is younger and you're a bit more unsure of yourself and you want to cover a bigger market, you just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And we have become more refined in our decisions, I think, and clearer on who we want to be, but also who we want to attract.
Yes, who we're working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas before we maybe didn't have as much, here it is again, confidence in ourselves to kind of back ourselves and go, yes, we are red and black and white and bold and we don't need peach and beige. But we are much clearer on that now, I think.
But I think then we attract the clients that from the website, from the podcast, from everything that we put out, it is so clear in who we are and what we say and what our topic is that there's not, I've never sort of met with someone and then they've gone, oh yeah, actually you're not the right one. Because by the time they get to the conversation with us, they've come through the Red and Black website.
Yeah.
They've
They know
read a
who
couple
we
of
are.
blogs. Maybe they've listened to a podcast. You're going to know what you get with me. I'm not a shrinking violet. So if you're up for that level of coaching, I'm your girl.
Yeah.
Some people will love us. Some people won't. That's totally great. Love it.
Yeah. And I think that filter it's changed the way we see a lot of our marketing, because in the beginning we wanted to reach everyone really, really quickly. And, you see some businesses growing at a really rapid rate and they're just gathering these Facebook likes and followers and Instagram followers so quickly, and you just kind of feel a bit left behind. But we know that we may not have a massive following, but they're all legit and they're all completely have bought into what we're selling. There's no, I've never seen a negative comment on any of our social media because the people who are there really want to be there because they get us.
Yeah.
So for our business, at least, it is very much quality over quantity.
Yeah,
It's very much about the quality of our
I
followers.
like the analogy of you're building a house and you just want to put down the foundations and get them strong, and then you build the first story and get that strong, and then you build the second story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're doing it too quick, you're probably skipping steps.
Yeah.
And you can bring on all these clients and then lose them all again and do the whole churn thing, and it's
Back to where you
terrible.
Or you get a dodgy electrician who wires up your house wrong and you have to rip it all out and
Yeah.
start
And then it costs you more in more ways than one later on.
Yeah.
But it is all part of that journey. It is in those mistakes and those challenges that we do learn. We've always had our fastest periods of growth coming out of an adversity, always.
Right. So on this podcast, we hear that over and over and over again. So when people are going through bad times and they're miserable and they're thinking about Woolworths, packing those shelves at night.
Poor Woolworths. I mean, there's like
So much staff out there that they haven't realised.
No, I think people genuinely ask a question.
Yes.
Is the pain worth it?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not a bad question.
No.
It's probably a healthy question.
Yeah.
Because then you come to the point of going, I could never go back to Woolworths.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a life I want. I
Yeah.
actually like the life I lead.
Yes.
This pain is worth it.
Yeah.
But off the back of that, comes growth.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
you're healing something. It's like if
Yes.
you've got a pain in your stomach, you go
Yeah.
to the doctor, they give you something and you fix it. Well, if there's a pain in your business,
Yes.
Yeah.
you go and you fix that. But
Yeah.
then your business is stronger and it's better.
Yes.
There's no surprise it then pops up after that.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So-
you've instilled that confidence in yourself that if I've done it before, I can do it again.
Yeah.
Right? There's that reinforcement that we've been through challenges before. And I think early on in the business, if you haven't experienced challenges, you don't know how strong the business is. But the more adversity you deal with, the
Yeah,
more you go,
okay.
we've
Yeah.
got a
We've
bumpy
weathered
road
those
behind
storms,
us. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And we've done
Yes.
it.
Okay, so how do you measure success? There's always
It's
money,
a tricky
right?
one. Yeah, yeah.
Money's
I think
not
money,
enough, is it?
No, it's not.
No, God, no.
No, I mean, it helps. And that's maybe from a logistical point of view, success can be measured in that way. You know, of course, a business making $1,000 a month as opposed to one making $1 million a month, you'd obviously pick one as the more successful business. But I think for us, there's success in our business based on the feedback we get from people. You know, if we see that we've impacted someone, if we've seen that what we've said or the way we've helped someone has made a difference to someone's life, it may not be measurable in our bank account, but we have clients who have changed their lives. They've completely overhauled their lives.
Yeah.
And to see these people who were broken living a life that they have intentionally chosen for themselves based on what we've helped them with, and they've turned everything around and they're happy and they're joyful, you just can't beat that. It's our biggest success, I think.
Yeah. And I think that also the opportunity we get to be with our kids, the
Yeah.
flexibility that we've built
Yeah,
in
beautiful.
is important to us. If I was up packing lunches at 6 a.m. and standing on a train for an hour and a half to get somewhere to a job, I would be miserable. I'd be having a miserable life. So
Even if the money's there.
sometimes some weeks are not great on income or different things, but I'm sitting with my feet in my slippers in the morning. I've just taken my son to school and I've got an hour to have my own nice coffee at home. Fantastic, before I coach someone. But
it's a win.
so I think that's very important for us.
Yeah, you're living the
especially-
life you want to live.
Well, especially at
Exactly.
the age our children are.
To
We're
be
both
present.
completely on the same page. We're
Yeah.
the same age children doing the same things. We have the same challenges. We have the same parenting
So
conversations
there's
about.
an understanding there. Yeah, we'll often, and that's another thing I think that is success for us. It's just such an easy relationship. We just have fun. We
we
always
do.
have a laugh,
Yeah.
even off the back of something really challenging. We will have a laugh. We sit in the office. We'll have a coffee, and it just works.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find someone that you work well with.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
we've often said this business would be so different if it was just one.
Yeah.
And to be a sole practitioner, I think would be there'd be
and
so
the
many more
spelling
challenges.
on Instagram would be atrocious.
Yes, we would get trolled for that.
Yes. Look, I think for me personally, the best days at the moment, I'm running a series of workshops on the Central Coast for disadvantaged women who are escaping domestic violence.
Okay.
And every single time I drive home going, it doesn't matter what happens from here on in. That makes it all worth it. We've had emails from them saying, even the next day what they've done, and you can't buy that.
Yeah.
They've walked in not knowing anything, and I know they walk out completely different. Again, they're the women saying, I thought I was crazy that this voice talks like that in my head. I'm like, Dal, it's all of us.
everybody.
And even that breakthrough for them is completely life-changing. So
Wonderful.
that's the measure of success, James.
Yeah,
How
wonderful.
many of those moments I get.
Yeah.
Well, it's been terrific having you guys on the podcast. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom and your experience. And I hope the listeners are able to move forward
With
more
confidence.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Yeah, wonderful.
That was Jodie, Bruce-Clarke and Anastasia Adams. And you can see and hear more about their work on their website, risewomen.com, or on their podcast, The Secrets of Confident Women. Tell me, Jess, what did you think about these guys from a marketing perspective?
Oh, I absolutely loved hearing about their clarity with their branding.
Yeah.
I'm so encouraged by that. you often use the analogy of how in an industry we'll see there's this general beigeness.
Yeah, the potato soup.
That's it,
yeah.
the potato soup. And you want to stick out and be that piece of chili in the potato soup. And I think these ladies are definitely that piece of chili. Like I love that their confidence and their commitment to their branding, to their messaging, and how they don't stray from that. It really helps them in their business, right? There was a point where you spoke about how it helps people sort of disqualify themselves from working with them.
Yeah.
What a perfect scenario. Nobody's wasting any time.
That's right.
It's fantastic.
They also talked about having a bad experience hiring an agency. And this is something we hear a lot.
So common, isn't it?
In fact, many of our clients have come to us because they've had a bad experience somewhere else.
Yeah.
So my advice to people who are either solopreneurs or maybe they're in the start or got a couple of staff is that it's really useful to spend some time learning how to do some of these things yourself. Not with the intent of ever becoming a master, but it's much cheaper for you to get some of the groundwork done yourself.
Yeah.
And you're really skilling yourself up on one of the main 5 pillars of business. So in business, if you want to run a business, you need to know some financials. Mm-hmm. You can't just leave that to someone else. That is suicide. You need to know about your product or service. That's called operations. You need to know about sales. Like if someone comes along, you need to be able to close some business. You need to know about people. If you're going to hire, you need to know. And last but not least, you need to know about marketing.
Yes.
In almost all of those, you're going to outsource things. Your HR and your finance, pretty much everyone will have an accountant or some sort of support. Once their staff gets probably beyond 10, you're going to need some HR support.
And it's just the same for marketing.
And marketing, there's going to come a time where outsourcing makes
far more sense. That's right, yeah.
Financially and in terms of expertise in execution.
That's right.
But before you do that, just like hiring an accountant, you need to understand a profit and loss. You should probably understand how Facebook works.
You should,
At a basic level, Google Ads.
That's
SEO.
right, yeah. Get your hands dirty. Yeah, just understand the fundamentals. It's going to help you make better informed decisions when you are outsourcing or hiring for those roles. We've got our SEO team. We've got 5 people across 5 different areas of SEO.
Well, I think what you're alluding to is that you get these people, and I guess this is a warning if you're hiring in-house, you get these people that say, I'm an SEO expert, I'm proficient at building WordPress, I can program in JavaScript and PHP, I can do Facebook pay-per-click, Twitter pay-per-click.
I do LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I can write content, I can do it all.
Google ads, YouTube ads, and they're basically saying they're experts at everything. They're not. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It just can't be.
It's just not possible. So, in our SEO department, we have 8 people doing 5 different disciplines. So we probably only have one person who I would call an SEO expert across them all. That's the manager, Rich.
Yeah.
The others are all experts at a function of SEO.
Yeah.
That's one service.
That's one service. Yeah, we haven't even got to our Google ads or Google services or our social media
Facebook
services.
Facebook pay-per-click, social posting, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, email, strategy.
Yeah.
What about that? This unicorn idea probably says that they don't actually know that they don't know it yet.
That's right. And I mean, that's not to overwhelm business owners, but certainly it's a worthwhile investment to have a bit of an understanding across all of these areas, enough so that you can make some good informed decisions.
Yeah. Because then you're not going to get ripped off.
That's right. Yeah.
You're going to hire someone who actually knows.
That's it. You'll be asking the right questions before you outsource that work or before you hire someone. And then ongoingly, you'll be able to have those really good strategy discussions.
So you use the word strategy, and strategy is one of the most overused words in English language. I think we talk about it in every sense. But with digital marketing, really what we're saying is that before we go and start pressing buttons and doing SEO and Facebook and all this other stuff, we really need to have a good understanding of what it is we're trying to achieve, who our customers are, what's going on in their lives, do we understand them, being able to give them the right message at the right time to the right people, and then how's that going to execute over 12 months?
That's right.
And this is the piece that's most often missed. Someone just hires someone to do Google Ads and say, can you do Google Ads? Great.
And they just say yes and start.
Haven't really analysed who the customer is, don't really know what success looks like, don't know what the plan is on how this is going to outwork itself over 12 months. Then it doesn't work. There's
of course
a fail.
It doesn't work, yeah.
And it's like, hang on, Google Ads doesn't work. Well, not necessarily.
No one knows what we're aiming for.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to go on holidays. Great. Everyone gets in the car. Where are we going? Oh, I don't know.
Not sure. Yeah. Great holiday, right?
But we're driving there. We've decided on the tactic.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it needs to be executed. And that's where people who really know their stuff can execute it well.
That's right.
Okay, so next week we actually have our season finale. We're going to go through the 9 different things that we've learned, and it's going to be very insightful, I think, to gather all the thoughts of this first season and all the great learnings we've had from all the wonderful businesses we've interviewed. So this episode of Getting to the Heart of Business is brought to you by The Online Co, produced by Claire Bruce, music by Harry Parnwell. You can find us at theonlineco.net. If you've enjoyed this podcast, we'd love you to share it with someone. Subscribe, leave us a review, and come and join the conversation on our Facebook group, Getting to the Heart of Business Community.